Hi Geometry, welcome to 1B. Okay, so these are going to be the constructions. Find the midpoint of a segment using a compass and a straight edge. Now, you can use any ruler, but I'm just going to use this as a straight edge, because if I have a ruler, I might be tempted to copy a distance or length. So here we go. Let's find my pencil. I can't find my pencil, so where's my black pen? Here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is just draw any segment. Doesn't matter how long. And then we're going to use a compass. Now, there are different types. This is the best one because it doesn't slip. Oh, that does seem like it slips. It's not supposed to. But these slip a lot, so you got to be really careful. This one's not too bad. And the metal ones, you got to be really careful, especially when you're trying to make a circle. So I like these. They're not supposed to slip. I wonder why that slipped. I think I bought a cheap one. All right, so what you want to do is we want to find the midpoint. So I'm going to make it so this compass is just slightly longer than half. It could be really big if you want, but you don't want it to be too small. You want it slightly longer than half. So I'm going to put the point on one endpoint and mark an arc. Can you see that? Yeah, turn the paper a little bit so you can see it. And then, with the same distance, don't change the distance, put it on the other endpoint and mark another arc. When you connect those two lines at their intersections on those arcs, there is your midpoint. Pretty cool, huh? This length is going to be the same as that. Now, if you want to test to see how long they are, you can use this type of compass to measure the same length. All right. Now, let's go to the next construction. It says, copy a segment, construct a congruent segment, then construct a segment bisector by paper folding and with a compass and a straight edge. Well, we already did the segment bisector with the compass and a straight edge, so we'll have to do that with the paper folding. So I use something called patty paper. It's paper that you would use to make hamburger patties. You squish them down together. Okay, so let's make a segment. This is A, this is B. Now, in order to copy a segment, make another segment. Just make sure it's longer. Mark an endpoint. Find this distance using your compass. Mark an arc, and then mark an arc. All right, so there's my copying a segment. That's kind of easy. Now, I know you're probably wondering, like, all right, so how do we do this with paper? Well, look at this. This patty paper is nice because you can trace right over it. Pen usually doesn't work good on patty paper, so pencil is probably the best. There we go. I just copied it. Now, again, how to make a segment bisector? Well, what you do is just map this point onto that one. Make the dot a little bigger. All you do is fold it. Make sure the line lines up. There's your fold line. I'm going to use my straight edge to make it easier to kind of shade it in. There it is. So it's really easy using patty paper, okay? The next one, I think, are the challenge problems. Yep, here we go, challenge problems. Okay, find the following endpoints. Find 4 points that go in between. All right, so when we're finding 4 points that go in between, the first thing you want to do is find halfway. Okay, so I want to find the midpoint of AB. Okay, so we have, take your two x's, -4 plus 0 over 2, and then the two y's, 2 plus 8 over 2. Well, -4 plus 0 is -4, divided by 2 is -2, and then 2 plus 8 is 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that's our midpoint. Now, go from A to your midpoint. We'll call that AM, the midpoint of AM. That's from A to our midpoint. Okay, so that means we're going to take these 2 points. So we have -4 plus -2 over 2, and 2 plus 5 over 2. So -4 plus 2 is -6, divided by 2 is -3. 2 plus 5 is 7, divided by 2, just leave it as 7/2. If you really want to change that to a mixed number, go ahead. Now, let's go for our midpoint, which we found right here, to the B. So, midpoint of MB. So let's do the x's. 0 plus -2 over 2. 8 plus 5 over 2. So 0 plus a -2 is -2 over 2 is -1. And 8 plus 5 is 13 over 2. Alright, so what I thought I would do is kind of double check. Here's A, there's B. Let me show you the values. There's A and there's B. And halfway through it, if you look, -2, 5 looks like it. And the midpoint between A and B, sorry, A and M. And then the midpoint between M and B, -1, 3. So, it's kind of, there we go. Sometimes there's a glare, it's hard to see. But if you do things on graph paper, or at least double check, then you know that you've done the problem correctly. All right, so now, what is the number? What is the midpoint between 15 minus square root of 29 and 15 plus square root of 29? Well, let's add them up, divide by 2. 15 minus square root of 29 plus 15 plus square root of 29. I'm adding the 2 numbers up, dividing by 2. Well, what will the square root of 29's do? They cancel. 15 plus 15 is 30 over 2 is equal to 15. Basically, these 2 things cancel out. Okay? And this kind of corresponds with it. What number is between -b minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a and -b plus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a? This might look familiar, so let's go for it. We're going to add the 2 up, divide by 2. So, make sure you can see this. All over 2. All right, so what's happening? These 2 have a common denominator, so that means we can add the 2 numerators. So -b, then I'll put this one on there, minus b. Then I'm going to put this minus square root of b squared minus 4ac plus this one, square root of b squared minus 4ac. Can you see that over there? All over 2a. And this is all over 2. Don't forget that part. I know this is kind of crazy. Well, take away b, take away another b. That's take away 2b. This is going to cancel. So that's over 2a. And then you have like one fraction right here. Divide by another fraction. So let's not divide fractions. Let's multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so what do we have? Right here, these 2's are going to cancel, aren't they? -b times 1 is -b. 2 times a is 2a. Does this look familiar? X is equal to opposite of b over 2a. This is your line of symmetry. And what formula is that? Quadratic formula. How cool is that? It's also your midpoint. Think about it. Your midpoint is your line of symmetry for quadratic formula. If you were going to find the 2 spots on a parabola, remember your line of symmetry? X equals opposite of b over 2a. That is the distance, the midpoint between your 2 zeros. So it kind of brings it all together. And I believe that was the last part of this video. And yes, it is. So this is part B. Hopefully it wasn't as scary as the part A. Take care. Have a good day.